We believe that China, in fact, was aware before the invasion took place that Vladimir Putin was planning something. We also are watching closely to see the extent to which China actually does provide any form of support.
Well, you got the president's national security advisor. He's going to meet with his Chinese counterpart later today in Rome. As we learn, Russia is reportedly asking China for military and financial help in its invasion against Ukraine. Here's the reaction. Air Force vet and South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, so the story is that Russia is asking China, hey, we need money because the sanctions are hurting us, and we need stuff
Right.
because we've run out. What do you make of that?
Well, I think it's good news for the good guys. Like Jake Sullivan, I think he's surprised that China's helping. I'm not. So there's two things going on that I think are bad news for Putin. He's having to declare virtual martial law at home. He's closed down the internet. The boycott in Russia is really working. So he's having a problem with his own people. And now he's going to China to beg for help from them. So if we'll just see this thing through, I think we'll be in good shape. We need to send the MiG fighters. Amy Klobuchar said over the weekend, a Democrat from Minnesota, that don't rule out that we will eventually send the MiGs into the Ukraine. If we could reverse course, Steve, and actually send the fighters in, that would be a morale booster for the Ukrainians, and it would hurt Putin because it shows that we're determined to stay in this fight. So China will be all in. China is the equivalent of Germany in the World War II analogy, and Russia's sort of like Italy, and the Ukrainians are just awesome. That's all I can say. Awesome people.
They are awesome. Senator, what do you make, though? Okay, so Jake Sullivan's going to sit down with China today, and
Yeah.
he's going to say, hey, we don't
What
like...
could go wrong?
Yeah. He's going to say, hey, we don't like the fact that you've teamed up with Russia. Now, here's the thing. I'm sure you've seen these stories that Mr. Xi, the president of China, feels like he's aligned himself with Putin, and now he's getting some reputational damage because Putin is blowing it. Putin has said, hey, I can take the country in 2 days. Here we are,
Right.
more than 2 weeks later, and it is not going well for him. Do you think Mr. Xi, there is something to that? He regrets aligning himself with Putin at this stage?
No, not really, because they have no friends. I mean, the only problem he has with Putin is that he's ineffective. He doesn't have a problem with the fact that Putin's murdering people on an industrial scale, that he's a war criminal. The only problem he has is just taking so long. So China's all in with Russia. They have very few friends on the planet. So what I propose we do is, if in fact the Chinese are helping arm Russia and providing assistance to get around international sanctions, that we put secondary sanctions on China, that we go after anybody and everybody who tries to prop up the war criminal Putin. And if we don't do that, then I think we're missing an opportunity to further isolate Russia and finally, in my lifetime, since Trump left anyway, stand up to China.
Sure. But sanctions against China would be tough because we get so much stuff from them.
We're going to have to recalculate who we are in terms of our trading relationships. If Russia is able to dismember the democracy in the Ukraine, that's a death sentence for Taiwan. Yeah. Xi is watching closely how much will we have, how much determination we have. You know, the Biden administration expected the Ukrainians to fold in about 3 or 4 days. They're surprised it's taken this long. Right. I think Ukrainians can win. Victory for Ukraine. What are we not doing? Let's send in the MiGs. Let's send in all the Soviet era anti-aircraft missile systems that exist in former Eastern Bloc countries. Let's increase the capability of the Ukraine to defend itself. And let's start telling China, if you pick sides and you pick Putin, the war criminal, over world order, then you're gonna have a tough time trading in the free world.
Right. Speaking of missiles, there was a missile strike near the U.S. consulate in the country of Iraq yesterday, and now Iran says, yeah, those are ours. What are they doing?
They're trying to probably be a proxy of Russia. Russia's got itself in a bad spot here. The Ukrainian people are fighting like tigers. The Russian people are beginning to become unruly. The only people they got to help is China, and if we put pressure on China, we can break that nexus. I would imagine that the Russians probably told the Iranians it would be helpful to us if you would open up a new front by attacking into Iraq and make America wonder about what's next. Well, what do I want to do? I want to open up a new front. I want to really go hard on military assistance for Ukraine. If there's a use of chemical weapons, that's time for a no-fly zone. Again, if we don't get Ukraine right vis-a-vis Russia, then Taiwan, that would be a death sentence for our friend in Taiwan.
What a tangled web. Iran, Iraq, China, Russia. And
Right.
It's only Monday. Senator, thank you very much for joining us live.